Hey everyone, it's Joe at National Sports Entertainment, and as indicated by the title, I did want to go into the game on Sunday. I think it's very similar to the Dolphins game, which I made a video on, literally 2 videos before this, just going into why I thought it was going to clip and shift the other way. As far as tonight, I wanted to go into how we finished. So as you can see, and I put it up on the community post as well, I put the Nuggets. What I wound up doing was we upgraded them to a leg 3. I'll also say this has been brought to my attention a lot, so I just figured just beware if you see like this kind of like a community post like on channels and you see it edited. If they edited, there might be a reason. I always find that interesting, how many people bring that up. And that in general, I want to thank people. I've been getting a tremendous amount of support, people specifically saying, basically, thank you for being you, just going off the cuff. You know, we can tell you don't read a speech or prepare or take hours and hours or to put your video together. You just kind of do it, and it comes off way better. And I appreciate that, because that's just me being me, and that's great. You know, most of my time goes into the metric aspect, which is fun because I like numbers. But I appreciate that. I got a lot of comments regarding that specifically, and I wanted to thank everybody that's mentioned that, because, you know, me being myself, if that's what's making me different in your eyes, then that's awesome. That's all we can be, is be ourselves. So what I wanted to go into is basically tonight we had about a split. We actually went 3-4, but again, just by playing good metrics, not chasing. You know, we could have chased Navy too and stuff, but I didn't want to play any college games, in my opinion, that were not efficient games, and most of the games were pretty even locked as far as public, in my opinion. So we did miss the Navy. We'll have a leg 3 for that. That's what I'm actually going to be going into. As you know, I like the Dolphins as a leg 3. In my last video, again, my last football video 2 videos ago, I got the Dolphins at +1. Really thought it was going to flip. So everyone that watched that and was able to get in on that, great job. Some of them are obvious, some aren't as obvious. We did miss the Magic, so, you know, we're going to have a leg 2 there. UAB, most people hit. I'm noticing it was 2.5 for most on their books. I'm noticing most people that pushed got FanDuel, which is fine. I always do encourage a book before the ones who collude with the NFL. But we will rerun a leg 2 for you. Just let me know in the comments if you're tailing and you pushed on that one. And for the most part, it seems like about 60-70%. I'd say about 3 and 5 people I'm talking to in here, at least they won. The others did push, so it seems like it's about split. So we'll rerun a leg 2 on that if we have to. And then for Merrimack, we did miss that leg 2. So again, we have about 2 leg 2s we have to pick going for Sunday, which is fine. I saved 3 leg 3s last Sunday, and we hit them all. I believe it was the Lions, Packers, and we faded the Dolphins, I think, were our 3 picks. But so some of them are pretty obvious, and some of them aren't really going to change. We got Texas State. That was a 1 unit close. So as you can see, we closed 2 units. Again, if you got 2.5, you closed 3 units. And luckily, and most importantly, we closed the 3rd unit here of the Nuggets. That's always going to be the most important, because, again, it's always about just profiting off each sequence. So, you know, there's always going to be, again, the desire to chase or to play live plays, and you can do that. It's just, this is what I found to be successful. You know, we're up 72 units, and now it's notwithstanding, of course, open sequences, but we don't have many, to be honest. We have the Dolphins one, which, again, now they're -2. So now people are rushing in to get the money line, paying juice, and I want people to avoid that happening, which is why I put that video out when I did. And I'm going to do that with this game, because I think the same thing's going to happen, and this time I think people might act a little quicker. Now, again, I'm not saying I'm 100% right, and it's definitely going to move that way, but typically I have a pretty good pulse over Vegas and their shenanigans. So I do think the Steelers have to win this game. They definitely have to be really in it. They can't be losing early, just because with these type of games, they love to keep the fans of all teams right at the edge of their seat. So the Steelers might just win outright pretty easily, and then they're waiting on results from other games, or you have like all three games pretty close. But I still think it just stands to reason that the Steelers do win this game, and other games are very similar, but it's contingent on the Dolphins. I do think the Dolphins essentially win, and they're going to be the ones who advance. So I think it makes sense that the Steelers win, and I think a lot of people aren't really looking at it that way. Again, they don't look at it like theater. They're looking at it as probably the Browns are the slightly better team. A lot of people just pick the more talented team, which is certainly the Browns. And, I just feel like it's one of those games where, again, I want a lot of these predictions. I'll re-upload them too because I have most of them safeguarded. Where I uploaded on my last channel got wiped. I did say I did think this will be Tomlin's first losing season. They've been pushing that narrative hard, and I think he gets whether he has a winning season or a losing season. And I did not think so, just because it was like 6-8 when I noticed it, and they were really pushing Mike Tomlin. Is he going to have his first losing season? And it was actually someone that commented it to me, and they brought up that them not having a losing season. And when they said that, I'm always willing to give credit. It might have been Marco. I forget exactly who it was, but they said I don't know. I think they actually keep it alive. And now that they're 8-8, it just makes me even more reassured. So Marco, I think if it wasn't you, whoever was in the comments on that video, I do appreciate it because, as you guys know, it's a movement. So I always assess everything people tell me, and that's why we've been so successful. So I like that narrative. I think Tomlin ekes out a winning season and probably in a heartbreakingly fashion misses the playoffs, but I'm buying down to 2. I can see this. A lot of people have the logic, and I understand it, but basically, okay, if we win, it'll be by a field goal or more. And if you notice, there's been probably more extra points missed this year than the last several years combined. I might be exaggerating, but there's been a lot missed, and they've played a role in games. Last week, they played a role in the Patriots game that I was explaining. The Patriots, they wound up, it was a 2-point game and a 2.5-point spread. So these things aren't accidents, and they happen. And it also wound up clipping the over-under, which was 40.5, I believe, and 40 points were scored. So these things aren't accidents. And I've noticed something that for some reason nobody talks about, like, people like to point out the obvious, and that's when I kind of immediately know, okay, whether a channel is legit or not. If they point out the obvious, or in this case, a lot of these handicappers, they don't point out in my opinion, shifty line movement, right? So you'll have like a line just like the Dolphins, where you had the Jets as a 1-point favorite, and it just shifts to the Dolphins as a 2-point. Like, how many people get clipped on those games? I don't think people realize. So Vegas wins games even when people think they're paying the public. It's it's not a matter of how much they win, but as I said, we've been successful, and we're going to continue to be so. But going into the line changes, Pittsburgh stuck out at me, so I do like Pittsburgh. I'll be buying it down to 2. I think they might even move it to 3.5. I could be wrong, but that's just what I believe in. It's the same logic as I had with the Dolphins video. I'll go into other games. I'll definitely go into the Saturdays and some good metrics for tomorrow. But I just wanted to get this out there because, as I said last time, I put the video out, and I'd say people had about 24 hours after watching the video, and it was changed today. So I get it out there. It's just, I understand that you can't watch it immediately. So we do the best we can to get it out to you. But at the end of the day, for me, I'd rather act early on a line than late, just because I could buy the line early and pay a little bit extra juice. But if you're late on a line, then you're really in trouble, because then you're paying like minus 140 to try and get it back to a couple points. So I've just learned that I seem to be rewarded more when I get the line early rather than late. But yeah, so as I said, we have a couple leg 2s, leg 3s. and I expect us to finish by Monday night around 100 units in the plus. And every video, I usually preface with this, but I'll just end with it. Every video goes in a playlist, and I put them all in order. That way people can see every single night. There's typically 3 videos. Our plays for the day. Typically we add a couple plays, and then at the end we always do our recap. So I update the Discord accordingly as well every single day, and we just do it in the playlist. So for people that are new and they're curious about the system or how we're up 72 units or what legs mean or any of that stuff, I just encourage you to watch the playlist. It's a couple videos and you'll quickly pick it up, and those people pick it up way quicker than the ones I actually explain it to, because they're actually seeing, okay, in live time, okay, and they see the longevity of the system. They see them, again, it's smart money management, discipline, which discipline people admittedly lack the most, and metrics. So just using that, we're going to continue to move forward, and like I said, Pound Vegas, I do think since we had 300 units from September to December, and from the 27th of December till now, we're up 72. I really do believe, undisputedly, we finished with over 1,000 before the end of the year. Of course, unless we're yanked again. But yeah, I wanted to go into just a recap as well as a game that I really think would be advantageous to get in on now, and I'd buy the half point, because 2 points is definitely possible, especially with teams like this that they like to kind of pin as 2 very gritty teams. So take care, everybody. Again, I appreciate the support. I really do, from everybody that's specifically been happy with the content and the fact that I deliver it in the way I do. There's just, in my opinion, it's much better to just, when I'm looking over my picks, to just be honest and go into, when we're wrong, we call it. There's nothing wrong with that. Yesterday was a really rough day. I was the first one to admit it. So, people appreciate that, and they've been telling me that, and I appreciate all you guys for being so specific. It's funny. People notice like every little nuance, but I do appreciate it, and just the love in general. We're going to keep climbing. As I said, we're over 20% of our we've retained 20% more than that of our original audience in just over a week. And again, it's because people are angry. They want change. They're tired of these same channels, and they've told me this. So I appreciate you guys saying, like, I'm happy that you're back, and I'm happy your channel's back, because it was getting pretty boring and we didn't know what happened and all these different things. So I do appreciate you guys. It's very nice. It's very heartwarming. And that's what keeps me going forward, is the love from you guys. Again, love, in my opinion, always is going to trump hate. So the whole goal here is to just continue to beat Vegas. So I expect the Saturday games to be, I don't think they'll be clips, but I think they'll be narrative games for sure. But I do want people just to be able to get the Steelers game. I think it's a good value as it stands. But as I said, I do think it might move. So thank you, everybody. Take care, and happy earnings.